Happy New Year, Mike.
Happy New Year to you, Kirsten. This is very fun. It's very fun. Happy New Year. Happy
Yes.
2020. You know?
Did you do a digital situation? Did you watch like the ball drop on TV or Twitter or Instagram somewhere? Or did you like just kick it at home, kind of like a normal night?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Usually, the past like couple years, what I've normally done is like I go somewhere like by myself, and like I take the time to kind of like I don't know write down some goals and like set intentions. And I feel like you could do that any time of the year, but it's not like it has to be January 1st, but it's like because there's like a natural pause in things anyway. I like to take that opportunity. Didn't do that this year for obvious reasons. So I was just kind of like at home, but I did set aside some time to do that to like reflect on the year that it just happened, as well as try to like write down some things for myself in terms of like what I wanted to try to get out of it. My friend John Mangan and his wife Amy called me on Facebook Messenger, and I've never actually taken one of those calls before. So I thought, like, and I was just like in bed. And so I thought that it was just like, when you take a call, usually like you accept the call and there's like, oh, there'll be an option to like whether or not I want to turn video on. But it's just like I accepted the call and I'm just like in my bed. And they're like, hey, happy New Year. And I'm like, hey. And I was like genuinely excited to see them, but I was also like self-conscious because I'm like, this is an intimate phone call. Because usually I got like a space background. Like I'm in my bedroom right now, but it's just like usually, it's like I mean, you can even see there's a laundry basket. You can like So anyway, that's my New Year's. That's what happened. That's what it was. I don't even know if I stayed up till midnight. I think I did, but I didn't like count down or anything. So.
Now, that's fair. It's like that is sometimes the vibe. Other times it's like I'm gonna hit the sheets and see you in the morning. Or just like you're still up, but it's like maybe the text thing has become kind of the like don't do it. Like the mass text that used to happen in the first 10 years of having cell phones, right? And then it started to kind of be known like, don't send me one of those generic Happy New Year texts unless you're like inner circle intentional text. Like I think we exchanged Happy New Year's, but that felt very appropriate. Mm-hmm. We are actively friends and like in each other's lives. So, and like my core family members, things like that, core circle friends. Otherwise, like, don't be giving me that fake shit.
Oh no! Well, that's what was great about John Mangan and Amy is like, it was great to hear from them, and I hadn't seen them in a while, and so like it was really fun to have that phone call, and I don't know, it was like a really nice surprise, but I was also like, and also it was just like the other thing too is like if it was somebody else, I wouldn't have taken the call. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's just like so seeing that it was them, I was just like okay. And then when I was in bed, I was just like, well, it's fine. If anyone's gonna see me like this, I'm glad it's y'all and not like I don't know, like someone kind of random. You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah, but you have a good point. It's like you were excited to hear from them. They make the list.
Yeah.
You answered that call / Facebook Messenger video call that was like no option to turn on camera. It's just on. You're in it. You accepted this situation, so get into it.
Yeah, it's basically FaceTime, and I didn't realize that because I've never been on one of those calls. So only time that has happened is when I or someone else has called me by mistake, and we end it before it actually goes anywhere. So it's just like, so that's my first time actually like someone calling me on purpose and me like answering the call. So anyway, for any of you that find yourself in a similar situation, when you press accept, they're gonna see you and hear you. So anyway, yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And I've not done. I don't think of. Maybe I have. The faint one's coming forward in my memory, but I don't know with who or when. Anyways, I was gonna say I don't think I've done a Facebook Messenger video call. made or received, but I have used the phone call, Facebook Messenger, the little phone at the top versus the little video camera. It's quite clear and convenient, and like if your Facebook working, that's working. And so it's just I don't do it a lot, but I have done it enough to be like, okay, this is a solid option. And like you said, it's basically like FaceTime, I guess, if you do the video one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? Now that you mentioned, the image was quite clear.
Mm.
It was, yeah, it was high quality. You know?
There have been a number of New Year's Eves that I have like gone to Nashville or a house party or even at a regular bar or somewhere with friends situation. And I do try and do intentions, and I don't do like official vision boards, but I'll compile thoughts and wants, needs, goals, things that I'm thankful for from the last year and going into the new year, things like that. But I think you mentioned this also. I'm also team very much like you can make those choices at any point throughout the year. So
Yeah.
each year added in life that I live, it's less about the new year and more about the why behind some of the traditions behind the new year. And
Mhm.
it is a really nice worldly reset that everyone almost simultaneously, in a certain sense, considering time zones and things like that,
Yeah.
but almost in a simultaneous sense, is having this global reset. And it does feel like, yeah, let's all hit a reset and or a I don't know, there needs to be a new word. It's not necessarily a reset, but like let's hit the reminder button.
Uh, anything from your evening in particular that was like highlight, favorite part?
I don't not this year indeed. We was here. I didn't, something that did stand out was the number of times that like I was on social media throughout the evening, just looking at the celebrations, things like that. Um, the number of people, particularly in the city we both share space in,
Yeah.
that were just like in packed rooms and clubs, partying, no masks. Hate to take it there for people who think that that's like a big deal to say, but I was also like, Atlanta, get your shit together. Everyone go home. Look at what you all are doing. None of us are going to get recess because of you. So like I found myself like liking posts, unliking the post once I realized, because the one pic would be like of them in a cute outfit, but then the next pic would be in a room full of people, and I'm like, no, I do not like this.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, like for people that are like just going out partying, no masks, like I don't know how you can enjoy that. You know what I mean? Like I like it's weird. It's like you know how you have stress streams about like whenever you were last most stressed, if that makes sense. So it's like, even though, like for example, with me, like even though I haven't been in school for years, like I'll have stress dreams about how I'm late to class or whatever, or there's like a class I haven't been showing up to. I've started to have like stress dreams where it's just like I'm walking around the grocery store and I realize, oh my gosh, I'm not wearing a mask. And so I can't imagine being at a party just being like, hey, no mask, ain't this fun? Like, I just don't see how that's fun. Like, that's all. I just don't see how you can enjoy yourself.
I'm with you, Mark. Like right here, right now. And I was already someone who, like, even in the pre-Rona times, didn't love sharing breath space with someone. You know what I
No,
mean? And
I've seen it. I've seen it happen, Kirsten. I've seen it happen. There's one thing. It's not. I'm not gonna share your business too much, but there was food out on a table, And I forget what happened. It was like buffet style. I mean, you were right. You were ahead of everybody else. But it's like there was food out on a table. The way someone touched it was not up to code. And you're like, I'm not touching that. So like, I remember it clearly. It was after a show that we went to go see. And it was like a rap party kind of thing. I was like, okay, fair enough. But now it's just like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what we all should have been doing, you know. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Mhm.
Because I like, yeah, that tracks. That tracks. I believe that you were in my presence in a moment like that.
Yeah.
Just like, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm not gonna do it, and that's my choice. But I would suggest that none of us do what this situation is encouraging us to do. I did some dancing around the house. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I said that because I do dancing around the house fairly regularly anyway. But on New Year's Eve in particular, I was on the socials. And so I found myself I bounce in between. Yeah, I spend a little time here, then I bounce a little over on Twitter, then I bounce back to Facebooky. Um, but when I was on Instagram, I was like, ooh, club quarantine. Let's get up in it. And I've never intentionally gone to club quarantine, but I intentionally like clocked in to club quarantine, and it was crazy because I don't dang, I should have taken a screenshot, but like maybe something more realistic but closer to what it was like maybe 2.3 million people in club quarantine, like the number at the top of the live, right? That fluctuates. It ebbed and flowed, but I was like, there are so many people just like all dancing together in their own respective spaces. Even DJ Nice, he was, at home, but he's such a huge DJ. Like many of us, we have our work at home. He's got his whole setup at home was like, you sure you're not in the club? Because that looks official. But it's just like someone might make a yoga room. He made this like it's all about the DJ
Yeah.
room. It was so much fun. So I maybe spent half an hour dancing in club quarantine. Uh, I think I'm understating that. Maybe like an hour, hour and a half,
Oh wow.
on and off, because not too on and off, mostly on though, because he specified that he couldn't do it for all the way around the world, but he was doing it for all of the United States time zones. So from East Coast to West Coast, he was doing all of the like leading up to the turn of the hour. So I was like, yes, I'm here for it again. I did mine. Let's do everyone else's.
That's great.
Yeah. I was like, yes, club quarantine. I'm gonna have to come back. It's been fun.
That's cool. That's cool.
And it made me think, Mark, of something kind of like that dances around in my thought sauce anyways, but has been doing so much more in what was the year of 2020. The forward thinking ideas towards like virtual engagements. We have movies like Ready Player One. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I'm vaguely familiar, but I haven't seen it.
I think, and I don't know this for sure, I think it was first either a book or something before
Yeah.
it was the movie that is my reference.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about to be Ready Player 2 about to come out, which is very exciting because I highly enjoyed Ready Player 1. And it ties into that like virtual reality engagement. In that setting, I think it's like where we're potentially headed. Don't mean to be a doomsayer, but like the world has gone to shit. So people live in cities of what are they called? Shipping containers, the big metal ones.
Yeah.
Everyone's got one and they're stacked and they're just like where people reside, and that you wear virtual, everyone basically has a virtual headset and you mostly spend your time in the virtual world as your virtual identity, engaging with people who might live over there but you don't know. So that idea when I was in club quarantine was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a headset or like a little boop, and we're all gonna be able to see each other and be like, we almost there, Star Trek. We almost there.
I haven't done much virtual reality, but I just got to imagine that that's going to become more and more the norm, it would seem, you know? So,
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I looked up at the stars because I love the stars. I do, Mark. So I was like, okay, let's keep looking up periodically throughout the night just to make sure 2020 like is not going out with a literal bang. Okay. Let's just keep looking up, can we? Um, so nothing crazy happened in the sky that I know of or that I saw.
yeah.
But also like all of these SpaceX trips to the sky, I think there have been multiple since the first one earlier in 2020. And I'm like, people have issues, we'll say, to keep it whatever, with Elon Musk here and there. I think that's semi known. But also, like, you better be an extravagant and phenomenal mind. You better get commercial space engagement going. Like, I am here for it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, well, I don't know if I'll see it, but just like needing alternate places for folks to live, you know? Yeah.
That reminds me of something that I watched. I can't recall what it was, but it's one of many shows like it where there is a journey to another planet. Oh, it's on Netflix? I'm thinking it's George Clooney. It just came out. He is a scientist. He plays a scientist, an older guy down on Earth. But he's the last, like, there are these pockets of last people on Earth. Because again, storyline, Earth done gone to shit because we did it. And it's just reclaiming its time. Anyways, I watched that movie probably in the last week or two, and it was good. It was good. It was good. I just had personal like, but why? But why? You were so good. You didn't need to do that. Was there not someone in the room who couldn't save us all from this moment? Because it was so good before that. You know?
Yeah. The Midnight Sky, is that the name of the movie?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of those sending people to another planet to see if it's livable.
Yeah.
For in order to become a multi-planetary society of people.
George Clooney does a little bit of space stuff every now and then. There was that other space movie. I'm blanking on the name. Gravity? Was that what it was called?
With Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sandra Bullock, I think space was new to her until then. I think she's trying to get in that space movie game because she was like, unless I'm forgetting some Space Jam stuff that she's gotten into before that. But Gravity felt like her first dip into the space movie game. But you're right about George. He likes to remind us that he looks up every so often too. The same with like a Jodie Foster. She loves some space movies, and space movies love her. Who else? Oh, Hilary Swank. She looks up. We got a new phrase. People who look up.
Oh, real quick about Hilary Swank. Isn't that, to me anyway, I think that's such an awesome last name.
I was not prepared for that question. I was like, where is this going? I guess, yes. What makes I feel like you have thoughts about that.
Oh, I was just saying the last name Swank. I think it's such a great last name. Yeah.
Have you thought that before today?
No, I just kind of thought it in this moment. Yeah.
Okay. The way you said it made me go like, oh, he has some deep-seated things to say. I've never thought it was extraordinarily interesting, but yes, I could say so as well.
No, I just feel like, at least in that moment, I was just like, oh, it just sounds nice.
Yes. I think people are rating their cities, and I think that's filtered through the perspective of how they're personally getting through COVID and
Yeah.
looking at quarantining and isolating, and also dependent on their ability in their living situation as well, all of the things. But someone asked me who, or not who, but how I would rate, like, what's my Atlanta lived experience of these COVID times. And I was like, bro, what scale? What scale? We 1 to 10, 1 to 100. How are we going? How are we working? I need to know, are we accepting decimal points or like a flat number? What have we got? And so we went flat number. And I'm going to ask you to rate our city through your lens as well. I gave Atlanta and 10 being like bad, being the worst.
Oh,
One
okay.
being doing pretty good. The situation is pretty, numbers are low, even though numbers are not low really anywhere, but our city is doing well. So things, my city is at like a 2, right? But Atlanta, I was like, all the strip clubs still open, all of them. And they are packed. And all the regular, it feels like all the regular clubs are still open. We're talking about people are focusing on schools and bars and restaurants, but everyone else is like, come over here. And they are just packed with like advertisements for 25% off Saturday brunch, and then they get 200 people, and it's like, what are we doing? So I rated Atlanta at a 6 because we're on the other side of 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I gave us a 6, and that's without decimal points, just cold number, boom. How would you rate Atlanta? 10 being the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, like, I don't know if I have a specific number, but I think the other side of 5, like the bad side of 5, is probably where I'd put it. It's weird because it's like, all these things like masks and social distancing. It's just like, I mean, as we all know, it doesn't work unless everybody does it. And the thing is, it's like, I feel like the majority of people are making a good effort, but it's like you mentioned, there are parts of Atlanta that never really shut down or scaled back that probably could and obviously should have, And while, I realize this is like a difficult and tough time for everyone, there are some things that I've seen that like are not essential and are not bringing in anyone money that are still like going full speed ahead. That's kind of all it takes to like continue to string this along for longer and longer. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah. And you said it like correctly. It's like, continue to string this along.
Yeah.
This feels like forever because of not only those people who are like blatantly either not wearing masks or gathering outside of their household, core units, but even those who are like in the middle. We can't afford for the folks to be in the middle either. Like, if we all, like, even if it was just statewide, but we know that people are not trees, they move. But if even just statewide, which could get messy because then borders on states start getting locked down. If one state gets it under control, they like, you're not coming in. If you leave, you're not coming back. But if we, as a country, shut down all airports, like nobody doing nothing. If you're not already here, hold up. Right? Everyone stay where you at. Get to where you need to be, where you want to be, and we locking down for like a month. I mean, we could get out of here. We could go outside. We could touch each other again. In the good spots and the bad spots. Well, we can't get close enough to do none of it.
Yeah.
Or we do, and it's like, uh-oh. Because, man, I might not put this one in there, but it's like I have been to a lot of virtual funerals. And even outside of that, outside of the like virtual funerals and services and remembrance gatherings that have happened, it's like regular death is still just continuing to happen as well. And regular death is just like regular death. You don't really have the same type of issue with regular death. It's something that was already there. Sorry if this is like Debbie Downer, but I was just having this conversation with someone the other day, and it was like, not only are COVID cases and deaths, as far as statistics and numbers, very high, but then there's all of the regular stuff that's still happening that is being, forgotten about or stepped around or misplaced or pushed back. And it's like, ay, or just still happening. And it's just like wild to think of the times that we are in. Especially when there are folks who are like, I'm gonna go to the beach. I want to go to Spain, so I'm gonna go to Spain. And nobody can stop me. I'll take my mask to be respectful, but I'm still going to Spain. So that's the most disrespectful part of what I'm doing. Go home.
Yeah.
Man.
I ordered some Fellini's pizza today. That was pretty good. Last week I made some like this stew. I've made it before, but I think I like did it especially well this last time.
Yeah. You've evolved, and so has
Yeah.
the soup.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the soup I've made before, but this time I made it without chickpeas, and I think that like did it. I think that was like, okay, this is like the sweet spot. So it's like I cut up a bunch of onions and some garlic and put that in some olive oil at the bottom of a pot, and then I added like just a bunch of seasonings like red pepper flakes, garlic salt, pepper, chili powder, turmeric. You know what I mean? Then I added some like coconut milk, some bell pepper, some mushrooms, and sweet potato, and just kind of like stirred that for a really long time. And you get like a nice stew that has like a sweet taste, but definitely also has like some kick. And like the garlic and like the turmeric, I think, like, or I don't know about turmeric necessarily, but I know like garlic and things pretty good for that immune system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like nice to make. The pizza that I got delivered from Fellini's was nice to eat and munch on. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that was really good. Oh, I did something else too. I don't remember. I cooked something else that like came out pretty well. I forgot what I did though.
Did you cook for either holiday? I mean, like Christmas or New Year?
I did, yeah. For Christmas, it was like a very straightforward breakfast, but I did like a good job of it. So like I made some like hash browns, but I mixed like both yellow and sweet potato. And then I made some challah bread French toast. And then I made some oven baked bacon and some eggs, but like I added like a little bit of milk, a little bit of sour cream for like creaminess, and cooked it with some green onion. So it was good. It's like very simple, nothing like crazy, but chopped some strawberries to go with the French toast. So it was very celebratory. Yeah, so I was pretty excited about that.
That sounds really good. That like challah bread French toast. Those are some magic words.
Yeah, I'm very much a fan of that. Yeah. Very much a fan of that. Yeah. And then for New Year's, my sister and I collaborated on some burgers. She grilled them, but I like kind of seasoned them in a way that I haven't before. So like, I took some like leftover bread, toasted it, put it in a food processor, made breadcrumbs, poured that into the ground beef,
Mhm.
also put an egg in there, put some brown sugar in there, ketchup and mustard in there,
Yes.
salt and pepper in there, some liquid smoke in there, some olive oil, mix that up, and it gave it a great taste, you know?
Bet it did. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
Oh, some smoked paprika as well. Some smoked paprika and some onion powder, you know? So that was good. I was pretty excited about that.
Mark!
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds delicious. That sounds like a delicious collaboration.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Oh, so that actually kind of relates. So I was reading a little bit about like goals and how to help them like, you know, how to better accomplish things that you like set out to do. And, like a lot of the recurring advice is, something that's measurable, something that's like realistic, um, something that you actually want to do, something with a deadline, all those kind of things. But a piece of advice that I had not really remembered getting in regards to goals is like finding something that you're already doing, like a new habit that you've already found, and then just trying to find a way to continue doing that or do more of that. And I thought that that was especially helpful just given the pandemic and how we've all had to take on these new behaviors. And while the year has been like so dark and, not good, it was a nice way to kind of look at like, well, so many things were bad, but there were some good adjustments that we had to make. So like what adjustments of those can we just like keep doing? And I think one of those for me was cooking. You know what I mean? Like where it's just like I've always liked to cook, but before the pandemic, I would never, not never, but I would rarely take time to do that.
Right.
And but it's just like, oh well, that's something that I enjoy doing. It gets me out of my head. Um, you know, it's healthier, or even it doesn't even have to be healthier, but it's just like a lot of times it just naturally ends up being like that. So it's just like, oh well, I can like find a way to resolve to cook more, and it's not for any other reason that it's just like, oh, that's something that I'm already doing.
Yep.
It was like a positive change, and so it's like, we'll try to do more of that. So.
I love that. Like finding a thing from the pivot we were all kind of forced to make that you're now doing and finding a way to focus some time and energy towards continuing to do said thing. Yes, I'm here for keeping cooking.
Mhm.
You mentioned like you would have never pre-corona times like taken the time. And I think corona, though it has taken a lot from us as people, it has given us some time back, that I think many times in the pre-corona times we were going so many places to do so many things in which we had to be other places to do. We have found these ways to that's not the case anymore. Almost everything, a large number of things can be done right here. And
Yeah.
so that excuse of like I don't have time is not as applicable, though still useful, because I think we've as a collective people been able to value time, whether that's time together, um, time apart, time alone, um, time as far as longevity of life. So it has given some of that back and allowed us to, like Miss Maxine, Auntie Maxine, reclaim some time and reallocate the importance of who we give our time to. Because that's another thing. It's like I can still say, I'm so sorry I don't have time for that today because I'm focused on giving time to these other things. And I felt more able to allocate where I intentionally allot my time.
That's such a great point. I think that's definitely something that I've learned. I think that's been the bigger lessons that I think I've learned over, the past however many months. Because I mean, you hear things about like oh, nice, ginger ale, good choice. That's a great choice. You hear things a lot about like valuing your time and, priorities and all that. And I think I've learned a lot about like what that means for me personally, and just like what I want to like. um I mean, there's so many ways that I think I'm still learning this lesson, but and you kind of already said it, but just because I have the time or the ability to do something does not necessarily mean that I have to do it. You know what I mean? Like when selecting like what gigs you want to do, for example, because like being performers or teachers, whatever, there's certain gigs that come your way, and depending on where you're at, where the year's going or whatever, you are in a position where you kind of got to say yes to everything. And so like I acknowledge that that's definitely like a thing, but it's also not really, at least like depending on like what they're willing to pay you and things like that, and like and learning how to negotiate. Not that I know how to negotiate yet, but knowing that that's like not like a sometimes thing, but like an all the time thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I feel like these are things that became more clear in the pandemic, because I think before the pandemic, it's like there was like a real need to like I was just compelled to be on stage as much as possible. And the weird thing that I think can happen when you do that is you're just like, oh, I gotta be on stage. And then you can, if you're not careful, you can undervalue, I think, your own value when you are on stage, So just because you would be willing to do something for free, like an open mic, like I don't expect to be paid for doing an open mic because that's like my time to develop. I think that when you do that so much, you can trick yourself, because you're just like, someone's like, oh, I'm gonna pay you to do this thing, and you're like, well, I would be doing an open mic for free anyway, so sure, I'll do this other thing for like a little bit of money. And now learning that that's just not, doesn't have to be like that. But I really don't know if I would have, and I'm not saying I fully understand this concept, and I realize I'm rambling a little bit, but it's just like I think I've made more progress in like understanding some better nuances of how to like value my time, and how to learning the importance of negotiating. I don't know if I would have made as much progress in those areas without like performance essentially just like completely shutting down like as we know it. And it's really changed my relationship to performance a lot. Like, so yeah, I don't know. I think that's, anyway, just kind of like talking about like the year just overall, and when you mentioned just like taking back time and things like that, that's for on my end, that's definitely what resonates with me, So.
Yeah, that totally resonates.
Mhm.
It's kind of speaks to not only teaching ourselves how to value our own time, and the fact that
Mhm.
time our time is valuable, not just us as individuals, but like everyone's
Yeah.
time is valuable. And to
Mhm.
step into that awareness and that empowerment to know that your own time is worth something.
Yeah.
And depending on where you are, respective to each person in your career and in your journey, it is okay to negotiate. And if people don't want to pay you for your time, effort, labor, experience, um, that's okay. And then it's okay to say no thank you. Like,
Yeah.
because you're also not only reminding yourself, maybe teaching yourself that your time is valuable, but you're also teaching other people that your time is valuable. Um, and that there will be a conversation around that, and that's totally okay.
Mhm.
So I feel you for sure.
Yeah.
You almost indirectly can devalue yourself when you opt to just for to do it again, to do another thing for free or for a rate when you would have done it for free anyways. But it's like, no, that teaches people that I'm gonna say yes to all things. I might not now, right? And that just teaches value all around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, another thing that's just kind of been like something that I was thinking about the other day when I was like reflecting on the years, just kind of thinking about how like well, just kind of like being in the live performance and theater world as we are, you know, it's just so it's so wild how it's just like, I mean, there's Zoom shows and outdoor shows, you know, but I mean, like theater as we know it, live shows as we know it, have not yet, you know, returned in what they were before. And that's still like, and I understand why, but it's just wild to think that they may not come back for a while longer. And I realize I'm not adding any new information. I'm just saying that it's just I'm just saying, like, I realize that we all know that, and I know there's nothing new, but I'm just saying it's just like it's just crazy to think about even still. You know, like anyway, I just had that not realization, but I had that thought the other day. I was just thinking about that the other day too. Like, man, it's not like it's not coming back tomorrow. You know, like you know, it's not like not even soon. You know, so.
And I think that now that it is officially 2021, people can't even say maybe next year. It's like, no, we're in next year. Next year is this year. And I can't see in the next 12 months being fully comfortable standing in front of a 200 crowd audience again and all that breath sauce. Knowing that they didn't all quarantine together. We ain't all been hanging out together. Even and that's in a year. If we give it all of 2021, so like you mentioned, it's not gonna be soon.
Yeah.
But also that kind of leads my brain sauce river back down the path of like the adjustment that or the adjustments that careers and people in similar careers will have to make. Even if eventually things do get back to normal, people will need a go-to that works. If this happens again, if slash when this happens again, and or to continue that type of engagement, because like many companies are like, work from home is now the thing. We have been leasing this building, which now we know we don't need. It's just a luxury, really, all these other things we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the adjustments that will come from the innovation that was forced will be the stepping stones for what's next, I think. And kind of like I don't know if I should say like technology was at the time for iPhones, or if I should say what iPhones did for technology, because there was that moment and we've talked about this, that just changed the game and exponentially increased so many pockets of adjacent things that it's like, I think we're alive at a uniquely wild and exciting time because things are happening. Though one might be able to say that about all times. I bet someone in, you know, Rome at its most Roman, if you will, probably said the same thing. Like, we've got aqueducts. There'll never be anything better. We've got internal plumbing. Right? But look, the gladiators. No world has ever seen anything like this. We've got lions on chains. We're gods. And it's like, we got spaceships. I missed one of my like not last as far as most recent, but one of the last ones before Christmas, because there were just so many people trying to get in Zoom meetings and calls before the holiday really kicked into gear, and people took like 2 weeks off. So I was doing a lot of meetings, so I missed one of my favorite regular meetings with my like super large educator Zoom group. For another meeting, but the one I missed, and you're like, I don't care.
No, I mean, I'm interested to know. I mean, you know,
The one I missed, they had and it's such a fun group. They had a like sing off, like karaoke basically, but Zoom, and people were putting like little teams, and then like the DJ would screen share their sound for a certain Christmas song. And I know this because people on the back end told me about it, and then they shared some of the video, and I was like, I would so been all over that, man. Someone want a T-shirt? Someone want a sweatshirt? Oh man.
That's great. That's great. I know the feeling when you miss out on something and you're just like, man, I missed it. Like when you this never happened to me, but this is the example that comes into my mind. So it's completely fabricated. But it's just like you have a cough from school. You get to stay home from school for whatever reason. And then you come back the next day, it's like, man, Mark, you missed it. The surprise carnival came to town. Everyone got a pet elephant. We ate hot dogs and corn dogs. And Barack Obama came and played us some basketball. We're all gonna be in the next Space Jam movie. They handed out diplomas. So we're just here for fun, but we don't have to show up for class anymore. Anyway, hope your day off was worth it. Anyway, that's what came to my mind.
Oh, that's so funny.
Actually, you know what? That may be an episode of Hey Arnold, or like a show like that, where like a kid skips school and they're like guilt-ridden about skipping school. And then when they show back up at school, it's like, you missed the carnival, man. It was great, but you missed it. You know. Anyway, I think that's
that. We all got a pet elephant. I wanted to say after you were like, and then we all get to be in the next Space Jam. Oh, except for the people who weren't here. You don't even get to see it ever.
Yeah, there was a limited number of tickets, movie tickets that were handed out. If you didn't get one then, you'll never see it because they're going to burn the only copy after the screening. So
I just started watching something that I already love and hate.
Another feeling. What is it? What is it? I'm excited to hear what it is.
It's a show called The Wilds on Amazon Prime.
I'm Googling it. Yeah.
It's loosely about a group of young, I think all teens, who are sent on this like team building trip to Hawaii, but then they crash on this island, and then chaos ensues. I'm interested at what the synopsis said, because I kept my description only being a couple episodes in, very brief, to not do any spoiler alerts. But do share, what does the description say?
So, just like the one sentence pitch when I Google it is, and it's very accurate to what you said. A group of teen girls from different backgrounds must fight for survival after a plane crash strands them on a deserted island. The castaways both clash and bond, ... Yeah,
pretty much.
Sounds like Lost, but with teens.
Right?
Yeah.
Lost meets Lord of the Flies meets Mean Girls. And like, yeah, I love and hate it, and I'm only on episode 3. In episode 2, I was like, dang, what? That totally changes the script and makes a little bit more sense, but still like, what? And then, so it's like good. It's clearly captivating enough to keep a viewer, especially one like me, because I got things to say. I got thoughts. But I'm still here. I'm just like concerned.
That's actually, you bring up a really interesting point with like movies and TV shows and teenagers in particular. Because I remember growing up and I'd watch these movies and TV shows as a preteen being like, wow, high school is about to be insane. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it seems like I'm going to be caught in a murder mystery love triangle with 2 women that look like they're 35. Oh, well, I mean, I guess I look forward to that. That's kind of cool. And then I'm 16 and I'm like, I'm at home playing video games and watching Zorro on VHS, starring Antonio Banderas. Well, wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Oh well, for my 20s, that's going to be crazy. And then what happens?
Oh my
I'm at home drinking Coca-Cola, watching that same Antonio Banderas movie. So I don't know. But like, but I really did think that like, wow, these teenagers. And then when I was in high school watching those same things, I'm like, am I doing this wrong? Is everyone around me like having these insane adventures? Because I am not doing any of that. I'm just doing homework, trying to get into college. And then when I got into college, I was just like, am I gonna be taken into some like secret society for people that spent time doing homework? And as a reward, I'm gonna be like shown the country's secrets in the basement of this college library. It's like, no, I'm just studying a lot of the time, and then occasionally I go to a party like at the end of the semester. It's like, but wait, after I graduate college, is that when things are gonna get really crazy? Like my diploma is gonna have like a treasure map when you hold it up to the sun. It's like, no, that's just a receipt for a lot of debt that I'll be reconciling for quite some time.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. There was so much in all of that that was so funny. The first was so funny. And as someone who's never had anything come out of their nose, I thought this was going to be it because I had just taken a sip of that ginger ale. And I was like, it's coming back out. And it's going to be recorded. And that, uh-oh. And then it just kept being so funny. Because it's like, you were like, am I doing it wrong? Like, oh my God. It's about to be crazy.
You know what I'm saying though? Like not even the crazy movies, even just like the tame movies like Grease. It's like, am I gonna be drag racing against like middle-aged men that live in Los Angeles? Are me and my friends gonna build a car and then race it? Am I gonna have like some weird long distance romance with a woman from Australia that just shows up at my high school senior year?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. It's like and like when you get in your 20s, is someone gonna ring my doorbell and it's gonna have a mission in it? Am I gonna be prepared? Nobody has been training me. Did I miss that class? Was that the day I didn't go to school?
Was that the day? Mark, you missed it. We went over training for in your 20s when you get sent on a secret mission.
Oh my gosh. That's the thing. It's like these plots with these babies getting in these situations, and then the baby's watching it going, oh snap, ninth grade is about to be litty. Am I ready? Oh my gosh. Whew. Yay. Whoop whoop.
Uh,
I don't know why I only said out loud the whoop whoop part, but the song I was actually singing and referencing whoop whoop pull over that ass too fat. And I don't know why that kind of popped into that moment.
some Trina and Trick Daddy. Yeah.
Cause that's I guess my spirit.
That's a good spirit to have. Slip and Slide Records. Slip and Slide taking over. This one's for Slip and Slide Records. Okay, what's up? Shut up. They were like dominating the radio for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Trina
like,
did Long Hills. Red bottoms. No. What was that song? I think it's called something heels, red bottoms. I'm almost certain. And it's a banger.
Yeah.
Did I get the title right?
I don't know if you can hear this. Can you hear this?
M-I-N this bitch. Call it ball. Long hill, red bottom, long hill, red bottom, long hill, red bottom, long hill, red bottom. Step, 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 step in your step, 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 step in your long hill, red bottom, long hill, red bottom, long hill, red bottom.
I like this song. I never heard this song. This is fun.
Step, step, step in your step, step. What's this serious answer? Miss Trina, private dancer, long hair, don't care. Left no evidence like I won't dare. Now they try to smell from my perfume. If it was not me, then whom? I'm talking about coulda came out tonight wearing J's, skin tight jeans with a word, but hey, thought it was time for a change. I'm guilty, what can I say? Keep it like M-I-N, this bitch. Hating on me, then bitch, what's hood? I said it, I'm a problem, I get it, but down the princess ain't with it. I'm about my dough, get my cash. I'm what everybody's staring at, they see me in. Long hill, red
This song is great.
red bottom, long hill, red bottom.
I really like that song. That's a great song.
Yes, it's a banger.
That's great.
Man, you gonna get your blood pumping. You gonna like get your heart rate going. You might break a sweat. I mean, you gonna have a good time no matter what, though. I mean, consider your circumstances and situation. It's gonna be a good time. Right? I just broke a sweat right then and right there, and I'm feeling great.
It was very catchy. I was like, let me just play the first 5 seconds. And I looked, I was like, I'm about to play this whole song.
Yes, she a bad bitch. Yes.
She's the baddest, in fact. You know? The baddest.
That was the most marked reply, and I'm so here for it. She is the baddest, in fact. Please, if I leave this blue planet of an earth before you, and I need you to do a call and response of she is a bad bitch, and everyone else replies, the baddest indeed. Yes. And then walk off the stage to that song.
I was like, may she rest in peace.
I
just imagine you if you're in the coffin, you're just like, you know, like certain things that like make me laugh, I guess, a little bit. One of them is if there's a funeral scene and whoever's in the coffin opens their eyes, it's funny to me. I think mainly because it's like, oh, they're not dead. And I guess it maybe alleviates, you know, some of the seriousness of death. Either that or it's just like, I just think it's very silly. But anyway, that just came to mind. So.
I swear we think of the best sketches just in casual conversation. Yeah. I mean, if not at my real life eulogy, Mark, then that's a sketch.
It'd be morbidly funny. It'd be kind of funny if it's like, if I was giving eulogy, you're in open casket, and it's like, here lies Kirsten. She died from too much bullshit being thrown around. But she tasked me with giving the eulogy. And, you know, at her request, I want to lead everyone in a calm response. Who is the baddest? It was Kirsten. Or something like that in this call response. And then, you know. Long
not purple or turquoise. I didn't they know what to look for. These niggas gon' love what I'm dressed in. Dressed up and looking so sexy. 6 inches, red bottoms, long heels. I got them.
Do you have the lyrics for that?
Huh? Yeah, that's why That's why I was able.
You secretly practice this song?
I'm reading along with YouTube.
That was still pretty good though. You was keeping up.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Trina's lyrics are very intuitive. I mean that.
Yes.
That's very funny. I'm very funny, or I'm very happy to know this song now. It's very fun. I guess I just missed it because I feel like, I mean, I don't know all of Trina's tracks by any means, but like I feel like I know her hits, but this is a new one for me.
You're welcome, friend.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Keep Trina close to your heart. Because she put out them bangers, or at least she used to. Yo, I found myself jamming out, like, and this is more often than maybe I say out loud, but we're not shy about it. It's just every time it happens, I'm like, you know what? We're not a secret fan. We're an actual fan of Justin Bieber. I have been for some time. We sing Baby, 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 windows down, radio up. Even when that was like the banger. But like his songs right now, I'm like, you gotta make me get your music and learn the lyrics because I'm loving it. Oh, I haven't heard his whole new album, but the songs that I have heard, and like he did a little collabo with Chance the Rapper, one with, was it him and Ariana Grande? Stuck on You. Just got me over here like, yes, Justin, let's teach the neighbors, shall we? Turn it up. I love it. Yeah. The show, The 100. Have I mentioned that yet? Man, I found myself today randomly in my day not having watched that show because I finished it. I have completed all episodes, watching all episodes. But randomly today, in just my regular ass life, I was like, that fucking Claire though. And that's like the main character in that show. And I just had this moment where I was like, she was really running shit though. Like Claire Aspirations 2021. Maybe not quite so much that, but I definitely today was just like randomly, I stopped and I was like, fucking Claire though. Like, and I said out loud, right? Like it hit me and I was like, respect. You ever do that? Just like think back on a show or a character in a show or whatever and just be like, you know what? You knew what was up. Okay.
It's really interesting how like revisiting certain shows, good shows, bad shows, and seeing like, not unlike music, I guess, where it's like it means something different to you, revisiting it way later. Like I guess like one example with music for me is like Stevie Wonder songs. Because it's like, I think the reason why is not, I mean, his songs are great, but I think something unique about Stevie Wonder is that like he's someone that I've listened to, like that I remember listening to him as like a little itty bitty kid to now, you know, like, so I mean, someone like him, like I feel like I've listened to him regularly throughout my whole life, which is like so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you listen to one of his songs when you're 12 and you understand it from like a certain perspective. But then like 20 years later, you're just like, oh, that's what that means. You know, like, I don't know. So anyway, with characters,
it's different.
Yeah. And I feel like with characters, it's like a similar thing where you think about a show again, or you go back and rewatch a movie or an episode of a television show, and you're like, oh gosh, I remember this person. And it's interesting because you're like, oh, I really was rooting for this problematic person. See how awful they were. Anyway, that's something that I experienced today, you know.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. Because like Claire has so many issues, but everyone on that show was going hard for Claire. And then when they weren't, they should have been, because she knew what was up. But she was such a complicated fucking character that even today I was like, bitch, you was really running shit. Like, you had a lot to deal with, and you did really good considering the situation. But also, try never to be a Claire, or to be just the right amount. I said to self.
Speaking of Claire's on television, I don't know if you watched The Bachelorette, but
Oh, I was gonna guess who is Huxtable.
well, seeing Claire Huxtable in Jingle Jangle was a pleasant surprise. That was cool. Seeing that.
Still haven't watched it.
I recommend it. I didn't.
You do.
But the Bachelorette, the season that just concluded like a week or two ago.
You were watching with your sister, right?
Yeah. I'd never seen a season from start to finish, but I get it. I get it now. This stuff is entertaining. And not to spoil it, but it's just like there's more than one Bachelorette in one season, which is a little unprecedented. Claire is the first one, and she's a problem. She's a problem. Yeah.
I also have never seen a season all the way through. Like, I'll drop in here or there because I think like my mom watches it, maybe a few friends watch it. So if I'm in pre-corona times around someone who has it on, I'll check in and I'll take a watch.
Yeah. And
can see the reality show milestones that are identifiable enough to know, like, I get why people drink the Kool-Aid, but not having seen a whole season, I don't know if I can confidently say I get it as I think I've really heard it in your words. You now, like, you get it, like the people do, because sometimes I'm like, I don't get it, but I also like low-key get it, especially hearing you now be like, I get it.
This is the thing. It's like there's a couple things going on. One, it's
break
just,
it down.
There's a couple things. One, this season was very entertaining because Claire, the first Bachelorette, essentially broke the show. I won't say how, but she broke the show and what it was supposed to do. And so watching a reality TV show break was entertaining.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the recording.